Welcome back, Bear fans, to the Windy City Bears Network. I'm your host, RC. Today, I just want to do a quick video on TJ Edwards, a review kind of on what he did this past year, what we think he can do in Dennis Allen's new defensive scheme that we're going to be running, and kind of what people have thought about him. You know, a lot of Bear fans think that he's not worth the money that we signed him for. We did give him a 4-year contract, which was around $78 million. He's making roughly, I believe, about $18 million a year. If you really look at his stats in Buffalo, he averaged 113 tackles. He's averaging 111 here. So pretty much it's been about the same. His play has not fallen off. You know, he's asked to do different things in this scheme than he's asked to do in Buffalo, and that he will be asked to do in our new scheme. You know, we ran a lot of cover two. We dropped him in the coverage a lot. So, you know, when you're dropping back, you're not going to make as many tackles. You're not going to get sacks like that. So I think a lot of people want to compare him to the person who we let leave or traded, actually, and Roquan Smith. They're just two different types of linebackers. The ironic thing was they both were in the draft when we drafted Roquan Smith at 8. I want to say Edmonds went 14th, I believe. So he was a couple picks behind him. And actually in that draft, I didn't want Roquan. Now, Roquan, don't get me wrong, he is a monster. He's a downhill linebacker. He's going to get you 150, 160 tackles. That's how they use him. TJ's not that type of guy. They use him completely different. His skill set's different. To me, they're both extraordinary linebackers. But you're going to ask them to do different things. I think that's what Bear fans have to understand. And I think last year our defensive line did not do a good enough job of keeping the opponent's offensive line from getting to the second level, from getting to our linebackers. I think that affected both of our linebackers where they weren't able to roam and just make plays. This year, though, with us picking up so many defensive tackles and so many people we can rotate, I think that that's going to be a strength. I think we're going to be able to let our linebackers roam and make plays. And that's what Dennis Allen likes. That's why he likes fast linebackers, because he wants them to be able to roam and just make tackles. Now, Roquan Smith in this defense would be extraordinary, you know, but who would have known, 2 years later, we'd be looking at a new defensive scheme. You know, it is what it is, but we have good enough linebackers. He is to me, a top-tier linebacker. You know, he's not a guy who's going to get you 150 tackles, but that doesn't mean his skill set is still not top-tier. I think he is underrated. I think we don't view him like we should, and I think this year is going to be a breakout year. Now, with that being said, breakout year, what does that mean? You know, he's had 121 tackles. That's the most he's ever had. You know, probably same, maybe 120 tackles. I don't expect him to get 130, 140. You know, TJ is going to get 120, 130. He's a guy who's going to get more tackles. He's asked to do different things. He plays weak side linebacker. Tremaine plays middle linebacker. They're just asked to do different things. But, like I said, he is only 27 years old. You know, when he went to college, he was 17. You know, when he made it to the NFL on draft night, he was 19 years old. So when we signed him, he was 24 years old. The guy's young. He's just hitting his prime. He hasn't had any injuries, concerns. I think he's going to have an extraordinary season. I think our defense is actually going to have such a tremendous season. I don't know if we're going to get the sacks that we want, but everything else I think is going to be, I think we have a top 10 defense. I think with the new scheme, being more aggressive, asking our corners to do different things that Eberflus would not, I think we're going to be a lot better than people think. I think we definitely should have a top 10 defense, pushing closer to 9 or 10. But I do believe that, we can have a great year. Unfortunately, a great year for us still could be 9 wins. We have such a hard schedule, but we have the talent on defense. We have great linebackers. We have very good secondary, I think top 5, top 6. D-line's the only question mark. And like I said, we added so many people to rotate to keep people fresh. That's going to help tremendously. But like I said, with Tremaine, I think this is going to be one of his better years. It's hard to make the Pro Bowl when you're not winning games. That's just the way it is. He made the Pro Bowl twice in Buffalo. Like I said, his play has not fallen off. It's been about the same. And I expect, that moving forward in the next 2 years. But like I said, if you disagree, if you think he has not lived up to the money we paid him, leave a comment down. Let me know why you think that. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, and I will have more videos coming out soon. Until then, Bear fans, bear down.